What's up, guys? Van Zeven here with episode 17 of Java 2D Game Engine Development. Today we're just going to be turning this client into a socket, or not in a socket, sorry, into an applet as well, just because I've had some requests and I need to get back into the groove of things. So let's get right into this. So we're going to go into the main package here, and we're going to create a new one called Game Launcher. This class is going to contain all the information for launching a game, as well as launching an applet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and we're going to take our main method here. We're going to copy and paste that over into the game here, just so we have this here. We'll also include a variable here, a private static variable, called game, named game equals new game. Okay, and right here we're just going to say game.start. Okay, we'll also need in that main method, we will need all the instantiation things, because we could have these instantiated here. But if you were to try and import this to an applet without doing this, this will get like the JFrame and all that would get instantiated every single time, regardless if it's an applet or not. And we don't want a new JFrame if it's an applet. So we're going to take all this out, and it's going to go over into the main method here, above the game.start, and we're just going to do game dot, and we're just going to do a lot of these copy pastes, pasting game dot in front of every variable that comes from the game. Including all the this variables like that. That's got to get changed. This dimension variable, I want to change this into an actual variable in the game, so we're going to do that as well right here. So public static final dimensions dimensions equals that. Okay. And let's go over here, and now we can just do game.dimensions, and we can copy and paste that down to this line, as well as to this line. That should be a capital G. So there's all the variables we need. I don't think we need anything else here. Let me just check this quickly. No, looks good. So that's everything there. Now we actually need to do the applet portion of this, because if we were to run this game right now, it would run as it's always run. We would just see the regular game. Do you want to run a server? No. J. Here we go. We got a regular game. Yada, yada, yada. So now we need to make this an applet. So to make it an applet, what we're going to do is we're going to extend the applet interface. So there's that. And it's going to ask us to the default serialized ID. So we're just going to add a suppress warning here so we don't see that. It's not something mandatory. We could just set it default to 1, but I've been informed by some other people that actually does matter, and we don't want to generate it based off of some random number that we have in our mind. Next what we need is we need 3 methods. We need an initialize method, a start method, and a stop method. Now, I think I went over this originally when we did the original games, the original method, and we created these start and stop functions. But we synchronized these functions so that they could be run on the applet. That's why this is synchronized. And I'm going to change up the thread a little bit as well in a second. But first things first. So all we're going to do in the start and stop function of this function is we're just going to be calling that function right here. So let's get this going here. We're going to create a public void init method. So that's the initialize method. And you'll see it pops up over there, meaning it needs an override, or it is an override rather. So we're just going to add that annotation there. And the next one is public void start. And the same thing with the annotation here. And v small v. And finally a stop. And override. Now we could have done this initialize function here. We could have had this initialize function the same as the game launcher, but I wanted to include that before we initialize the applet, because what this initialize function is doing is it's initializing a lot of the core methods and classes inside this game. It's not instantiating the game itself, which is what this is really for. So in the initialize function, that's what we're going to do. It's essentially going to be a copy of this, but it's going to be for an applet, not for the actual game. So what we're going to do is we're going to do set layout. To set the layout first, new border layout, OUT. Okay. Next, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to add it. So we're going to add game to border layout dot center. Okay. We're going to need to set maximum size to game.dimensions. That's why I did that earlier, just so that we could do this. And set minimum size to game.dimensions as well. And we might as well set preferred size to game.dimensions. I believe that's a function. Yes, it is. So there's that. So that's the basic initialized stuff for the applet. And in the start function here, we're just going to do game.start. Oops. .start. And in the stop function, we're going to do game.stop. Okay. Now before we run this, there's a few other things we need to change. Because in this, you'll see that we have the window handler first off. Now, applets don't really have window handlers. It doesn't really work the same way. So we're going to just do a very simple way of initializing this. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it out of here. And we're just going to put this initialize function here. Right there. And we're going to do game dot and game. Just so it's not instantiated on the main class, this will only be instantiated and added as a window listener to the frame, because you'll see we're adding it as a frame. So yeah, that's why we're doing that. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go down and the thread. Let's deal with the thread first. This thread, I want this thread to be able to stop, because when we stop it, we just kind of leave this thread. This thread doesn't really go away. So we're gonna close that thread, and to do that, we need to make that thread a class variable. So we're gonna do it here. Actually, let's do it up near the frame. Public thread, and actually let's make it private, just so that we only have access to it here. So there's that, and then down here in the start function, we're gonna do thread equals new thread this, and we're gonna name it to the name. And we're just going to underscore it with main. It's just typical convention that I do, naming the threads like this. And down here, we're going to set rending to false, and then we're going to do thread.join to close the thread. And let's add the exception here. And there's that. Okay, so that should be everything. I don't think we really need to add anything else. I may need to handle something with these packets, but I can do that in another episode, because I don't know how long this episode is going to be. So I might just do that in another episode. That's what we're going to do for now. Now we need to handle this. So this JFrame here, we're just setting the title to ticks, and this isn't something that we want to keep or persist when we do other things. Like when the main game comes in, we don't want to see this. It's only debug information for now. So that's exactly what we're going to make it. We're going to make a variable here at the very end of this. Public boolean debug, and that's going to be equal to true by default. Now what we're going to do down here is we're going to create a new function and a new enum. So let's make the enum first. So we're going to say public static enum debug level. Okay, and we're going to have info, warning, and severe. Now what these are is an info debug level is just saying you're spitting something out to console. We don't want to see it. It's just some generic debug information. The warning message is going to spit out a warning saying like, oh, something's gone wrong. You need to deal with it in some method or another. And the severe message is something that's critical to the program to running. So as soon as this severe message is thrown, we're gonna close it. We're gonna stop this. It's gonna quit. System's gonna exit. We're also going to make the function now so that we can call that, so it's kind of like a system out. So we're going to say public void debug, and we're going to say debug level string message. Okay. Now console, I don't know about you guys because you guys may be on Windows or not, but the Mac console and any sort of terminal based console, it's very, very like the Java console. It's very spammy, and there's a lot of different things that go on quite frequently in it. So we want to prefix all of our messages with something, just so we can see it and see it clearly exactly what game we're talking about, so to speak. So first we need to do a switch statement on level, and we're going to do case info, case warning, case severe, and we're going to default it to info just to be thorough. Next, right here, what we're going to do is we're going to say if debug, then we're going to do system.out.println, and we're going to print out some little square brackets around the name, put a space, plus message. Okay, and then we're just going to break. And we're going to copy this little system.out.println down a line, along with the break. And instead of here, we're going to add some stuff here saying warning. Just because this is a warning and we don't really care about warnings. And then the severe is when something's really gone wrong. So we're going to say severe, and we're going to say stop. Okay, that should be everything. I'll do this dot stop just so it's a little more specific as to what we're talking about. So this dot stop will go up to the stop function up there, up here, right here. Okay, so there's that. Everything here should be good now. Actually, I didn't actually change this. So this method will now need to get changed to debug. And then we're just going to do debug level dot info, because this is just an info message, and then it's just going to say that. So now when we run this, you should see those messages popping up, and I just ran it as the actual game, which I didn't mean to do. So let's actually get out of this. Oh, what is this? Okay. Null pointer, where's that coming out? 27. Oh, yeah. Don't worry about that. Now, when I run this, I want to go back to Game Launcher. And what I want to do is I want to run this as an applet, just to show you guys that the applet does actually work here. So we run our server, no, the applet started. So this applet started, but what's going on? Doesn't look like the game's actually started. Game is equal to new game, set layout, add game, game.start, game.stop, game.start, thread equals new thread. Oh, I didn't actually start the thread. That's the issue. So thread.start. Okay. That was probably the issue with the other one as well. What the issue here is this thread was created, but I didn't actually start the thread. And when you start the thread is when this run function will actually execute, which is when the initialize function will execute and all that other good stuff. So that was the issue there. So if we run it now, applet initialized. Yes, we're on the server. Our name's Jay. Here's the applet. So you'll see that it does initialize, and this sizing will be taken care of in the actual game applet primarily. So we got our little guy. He walks around. His name is Jay. We can quit it, and there's that. We can also run it as the main game. So debug as Java application this time. So this is running it from a jar file. So our name is K, and we got our same little game here. So let's close it, and that's about that. Next, what I want to do quickly is, you'll see that everything is prefixed right here, and we don't want to see that all the time. So to quickly show that, we're just going to make a variable here, public static final boolean debug equals false, and we're just going to set that debug right here. Game.debug is equal to debug, and we'll copy that down to here. Just so that these things, so that I can show you guys that it does not show it now. And so run the server no J. You'll see that we don't have that message there anymore. Now for the warning one, let's just verify the warning as well. We're going to do debug level dot warning. So that's how you change it to a warning message. Now you just prefix it with a warning. And we'll run it again. No. Okay. And you'll see now it says warning in front of it. And I actually do want to put a space there. Didn't intend to not have a space, so there's a little space now, and it'll prefix the warning message. So this is nice and apparent that there is something going on with this line. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to do a severe exception. Now this one will crash your client, so don't worry about that. Severe. Okay, so we're going to run it, and let's watch it crash. So no J. You'll see severe warning, and this is actually frozen because we've stopped it. So that's that. So that's been that. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to open up a separate application. Now I'm going to show you guys how to actually implement this in your web page. Okay, and I'll show you with an example rather than actually programming it all myself. I'm going to connect to my own server, and this is an FTP server that I have myself. I'm using an application called Coda 2. It's a very good application. You don't need to use it. There's many different other ones you can use. You can even use a basic text editor to do this. But essentially, you'll see that you have your jar file here. And let me go over exporting it really quickly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do this. You click export. And we're going to export it as a jar file, just a regular jar file. You don't need it to be runnable. If you want it to be runnable, that's if you're going to make it a runnable jar file from your desktop. You can leave all these settings. You can look at mine if yours are a little different than this. They don't really matter that much. And what we're going to do here is we're going to export it to my desktop. Okay, and we're just going to name it Java 2D Game Engine. There's that. So let's go into the desktop. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open up these two like this. I'm going to go to the desktop here, and you'll see it's right here. Okay, so you'll see that we have the jar file here now, and it's only 33 kilobytes, which is pretty small, considering this one's a lot bigger and a lot different. So I'm just going to go to my root folder here, and you'll see I got all these different folders with all this different stuff in it, and these are all going to get removed at some point or other. But we're just going to make a new folder called Java. Do I have that folder? Oh, I do have that folder. Okay, I didn't know I had that folder. So I'm just going to delete that then. Let's go into the Java folder and let's see what's here. 2D_game_dev. Okay, cool. And 2d.jar. Apparently I already have that in here. What's this? Let's just move. Okay. So this index file is just redirecting you to this URL. That's all that's doing. So what we're going to do, and Vue's probably doing the same. We're going to make a new folder here, and I'm just going to call this Applet. Okay. We're going to go in here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to upload this file right over there. That's going to upload it. You'll see it uploading. Oh, it's already done, but yeah. So now it's uploaded onto the server as well as onto my client, and I'm going to create a new file here, and I'm going to call it index.html. So just a regular HTML file, and now we're going to instantiate some HTML things. If you don't know HTML, don't worry. You can just copy this code. You can go to the link in the description. There'll be a link to this page on my site in the description. You can just go there, right-click on the page, and copy all the source code, and just change what you need to. But essentially, we're just going to create an HTML tag, and we're going to close it. We're going to create a head tag, or is it header? No, it's just head. We're going to close it. We're going to create a body tag, and we're going to close it. Okay, and then we're going to move these two in. So there's that. The head tag is essentially anything about kind of like instantiating any JavaScript, telling the web page what your CSS is, all that kind of stuff. And all we're going to do here is we're going to set the title of it. That's /. And we're going to set the title to Java 2D Game Engine. What this title thing is, if I open up a browser, you'll see, let me actually go to the site, and I said Java 2D Game Dev, and it was /applet. Okay. Oh, why didn't that work? Applet, yeah. Java applet. Oh, I didn't go to that folder. Okay. Java applet. Okay, there it is. So this is the actual title here, and this is our web page that we have so far. So that's all the title is. So I can change this to whatever I want, to like 2D Engine 2. Save it and refresh it, and you'll see the 2 pop up there. That's all that is. It's just setting the title. Next, what we're going to do is we're just going to give the body a nice color. I'm not going to do any fancy CSS or anything in this, just because it takes a while to do that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to give the body a basic color of 333, which is going to be a type gray. We're going to save it and refresh, and you'll see now it's a gray. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to do a center tag. This is just to center everything, and we're going to close it. So it's to center everything on screen in the middle, just so it's nice and clear. And now we're going to actually do the applet. So now we need to call an applet here, and we need to close it as well. There's nothing in between, but in the actual applet we need to add some different things. So we need to add a code, and this is going to be the path to your main your main method or your applet class. So, oops, what's going on here? Oh, it's because I saved it. It's trying to open it. No, don't. Okay. So this is actually going to be the path to the applet. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do ca.vanzeven what is this package? You can go to your game launcher package if you want to find this out, and no, clear you. Why do you keep popping up? Just copy this here, and then go back to Coda or your application, and put it there, and then type the game class. So game launcher, like that. Next, what we're going to do is we need to add an archive. Now, this archive is the path to the actual file on your server. So you can use relative paths. I don't know why this is continually logging in right now. My Java applet shouldn't be opening. Let me just close it. Apparently I can't. I think it might be because Coda's trying to open it or something like that. But anyways, so this is going to be the actual path to it. So I'm going to use a direct path. There are some issues that go on with some different installations of operating systems and all that when you're actually running your server here. Hold on a minute. Let me just get rid of. Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. Hopefully it doesn't open again. It might. I think it's because it's trying to refresh this little image of the HTML page here, which it shouldn't be doing. But okay. So this is going to be the actual full path to your image. You could use a relative path, so I could just put right here whatever this file name was, Java 2D Game Engine. But if you do that, there are some issues with operating systems and browsers and stuff like that, and you get a few different issues. So we're just going to reference it directly. So vanzeven.ca/java/applet/java 2D game engine.jar. Okay, that's the direct path to this file. So this is my vanzeven.ca/java/applet/file name. Okay. Next, what we need is we can actually include the width here, and we're gonna width it. Let's actually get the width. Let's make it correct. So go into the game. The width was 160 times 3. This one is. So 160 times 3, 480. Okay. So back to Coda. So the width is 480, and the height then is going to be 480 times, what was it, 12:9 ratio. So 480 divided by 12 times 9, 360. So 480, and the height I set to 360. Okay. And finally, we're just going to add a title to this applet. So whenever this applet requests information, like if you go to the web page and Google Chrome ever pops up saying, this web page requires you to run Java, do you want to run Java? It'll say Java, and that Java is the title here. So we're just going to say Java TM. Oops, M. Okay. So there's that. So now we have our applet here, and if we were to go to the web page, it would perfectly load. But for some people, the applet might not be there, and that's because they don't have Java. So we're going to change that up a little bit, and we're going to add something here. We're just going to add a new font, and we're going to add some color to the font, make it like that color. Just make it a little more outside of the screen. And we're going to say you need, and let's include a link to Java, which is an href tag. Href is just like the path. So this is going to be http://www.java.com, and we're going to, in here, we're going to say font color. Let's change it up. AOFF. Oops. AOFF. Okay, and then we'll say Java to run this application. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's just going to pop up a little line of text always underneath the screen saying that you need Java to run this application, ... And Java is going to be a link to the Java site. So we can actually go now, and yeah, I'm actually just going to put a line break after this just in case. It should do it automatically, but this is just going to be a verification thing. And so let's go to our site now. vanzeven.ca/java/applet. And you should see, once it loads, that little screen that was popping up earlier, that should pop up again here now. You'll see you need Java to run this application. And this little pops up. And there it is. And do you want to run the server? No. And, oh, exception in game main. So this is the thread. You'll see that the actual thread is named here. So it doesn't just say exception in thread. We actually know it's coming from the game. Load level from file, level at 40. So that's probably a resource issue. So I'm just going to refresh this. And let's actually check into it. There shouldn't be an issue here. So let's just look. Width is equal to image.getWidth. Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue. Let's just refresh the workspace. And let's export it. Again, jar file, all the same information. Save it. Go into Coda. Go to Files and drag and drop it. Replace. It's done uploading. Let's try it now. Run it. No. And it opened up again. Why is there a null pointer here? Let me figure this out, and I'll be back in a minute. I'm not exactly sure what that issue was, because it didn't start working, and this is socket issues now, which I knew we would run into. But it does get past that, so it's not a level issue anymore, so I don't know why that was going like that. But this has to do with sockets here, and it's saying that we can't run a socket on this port from here, because we don't have permission to run it. So we will actually need to add something in here. So let's go down to our socket stuff, and let's just say init. Let's create another variable here. Public boolean is applet. Let's set it to false by default. And in here, let's say game.applet is applet is equal to true, just to set it. And then down here, what we're going to do is we're going to say if is applet. Do all that. Actually, if is not applet, as well as down here, all that stuff. Okay. And just to do some verifications, because I think there's going to be some issues in some other places of code as well, let's go into the applet here, into the client, and let's say parse packet. That's not going to work. Send packet right here. If is applet, and will actually be game dot is applet. I want to reverse that. So this is just going to verify that if it's not an applet, we're sending it. If it is an applet, we're not trying to send the packets if it's not an applet. Send data. So we have this function as well. So we'll do the same thing there. So that should fix that. And on this game, when we run it, if we run it as an applet, which I think I am right here. No, I'm not. So it will pop up, do you want to run the server? And this screen as well. And again, I'm running that severe exception, which I forgot about. So let's get rid of that. It should just be an info. Okay. And let's run it as a applet now. And as an applet, it shouldn't ask us if we were on the server. And it doesn't. It just says, do you want to enter a username? So there's that. And we can move around and all that jazz in the applet. So let's export this once again. And this should be the final time we have to do this. Export it there. And let's copy it over. Replace. And it's uploading right here. Activity. Come on. It's probably got to reconnect to the server as well. If I'm just going to be back as soon as this is done. So give me a second here. Okay. We're back. I don't know why that took so long. Now we're just going to refresh this page. And everything should be good to go. Let's see. Enter username. Our username is H. And there we go. And our guy's in. You do have to click on the screen, and you will see some tearing in this applet. That's just for me because my screen's a little wonky right now. So here's our guy, and everything's golden. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you guys learned how to implement this on your own. So you guys take care, and I will see you next episode when hopefully we either get back to the socket stuff and the networking stuff, or we move on into the GUI stuff and getting that working. So take care, guys, and I will see you next time.